If I could have your attention, please. I'm John Beaumont, President of the Johns Creek Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to welcome you here today to the 2018 State of the City. And at this time, I would like to invite up two people, please. Rabbi Jordan Ottenstein from Congregation Door to Mid, and Pastor Michael McClure from Johns Creek Baptist Church. Gentlemen.
Please allow us to pray for this event. As Creator God, we acknowledge you as our sustaining force. Our past, present, and future have always been in your hands. So we pause to show our gratitude this day. You've shown us the way, you've provided us wisdom, you've inspired our leaders, and as a result, our city has become a beacon of hope, a place of equality, and a model of peace. For our progress, we praise you. For our future, we turn to you. May we continue to change the world together. Amen.
We begin this morning with the words of the psalmist who exclaimed, Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good and pleasant it is when all of us, brothers and sisters, can sit together in unity. And we have come together for that very purpose, united in our love and dedication to our city. And so we ask you, Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the universe, to watch over this gathering, to guard us from all evil and strife, and to bless us as we work together to make our home and our community a shining example of goodness. May our interactions be filled with love and our disagreements be for the sake of heaven, listening to each other with open hearts and minds, giving each other the benefit of the doubt, and debated with the understanding that we all have the welfare of our community at heart. And so we pray, each in our own way, that the doors, entrances, and roads to our city of Johns Creek be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love and all who are lonely for fellowship. May these doors, entrances, and roads be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy, and enmity. May the threshold to our community be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. And may Johns Creek be, for all who enter it and for all who dwell in it, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Amen.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce, with the presentation of colors, the Johns Creek Veterans Association, and from Chattahoochee High School for our national anthem, Hannah Shemay. Please rise.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Hannah. What a beautiful voice, and how proud we are to have you part of our school system. To the Johns Creek Veterans Association, we are so pleased that you're part of our city, and we always appreciate you doing such a wonderful job representing us. I would now like to introduce our sponsor. We do need sponsors at these events, and we are so lucky to have Emory Johns Creek Hospital that steps to the forefront each year to sponsor this State of the City. Representing Emory Johns Creek is their CEO, Marilyn Margolis, and she will be joined by Hannah Henry. Marilyn's a familiar sight in our community. She's been in nursing for 35 years, took over in this role in 2016 as the CEO, and we're so happy you're here. She has a wonderful background in nursing and in management and has risen quickly through the ranks, and we're just blessed to have you part of our team. So, Marilyn, oh, by the way, she's also the chair of the Johns Creek Chamber, and I'm particularly nice to her when I introduce her.
Good morning. Nice to see everybody this morning. Yesterday I was in Pennsylvania with my brother who had some surgery, and there was 2 feet of snow. I just mentioned that to the mayor, and he said we wouldn't get out of it for a month down here. They were done with all the snow in one day. So it was so great to be here. Hannah has been really so wonderful because I definitely didn't think I was going to get back with all that snow, and she really helped do all this presentation. So we're going to split it. We're each going to do half of it and see how that goes. I want to thank everybody in the city of Johns Creek for allowing us to be the hospital that serves the community. We're so happy to be here. I want to thank the mayor for being the best mayor ever, and his lovely wife, and of course their daughter, who has happened to be born at Johns Creek. I always have to talk about that. So I'm going to hand this over to Hannah, and we'll get on with the show.
Good morning. As we get started, we'd like to first share with you some of our accomplishments from the last year. At Emory Johns Creek, not only did we turn 10 years old this year, but we were also fortunate to experience record numbers of growth in all areas. That includes 14% growth for inpatient admissions and more than 27% growth for our outpatient visits. Because of that, the hospital has a lot of need to grow. And so one of our big projects this year is to reconfigure the emergency department. What that will do for our community is a couple of things. First, we'll have a clinical person at the emergency room front desk so that when you come into the emergency department, you'll receive your clinical care as quickly as possible. We're also in the process of adding an express care unit to the emergency department so that when you come in and you're not quite as sick as some of the other folks in the emergency department, you can get out in a way that's more respectful of your time. We've also added a new interventional radiology suite, which will allow us to perform minimally invasive procedures for a variety of diseases and conditions. We're pleased to announce that we've been the only hospital in this geographic area to receive 5 out of 5 stars from Medicare's Hospital Compare, which rates hospitals on 57 different measures of quality and on patient experience. With growing numbers of patients, we also have a need to add more physicians. So this year, we are adding several different oncologists to Winship's complement of physicians, including a colorectal surgeon, urologist, and physicians who specialize in peripheral artery disease and other vascular procedures. Most exciting, and many of you were there for this, we opened a new 20-bed observation unit in the past several months. And I don't think, yeah, here we go. So if you look at this picture, several of you were in this slide. We had a huge turnout from the community, which we were very pleased to see. This unit will allow us to place patients in the right beds, which means if you're not quite sick enough to be an inpatient, you can go to this unit and you'll be taken care of in a way that gets you out of the hospital in a more timely manner. If we go to the next slide, we had several members of the chamber, the board of directors, and the community here. You can see everybody up there smiling with Marilyn, which we were really proud to have. And then on the next slide, we were also honored this year to receive the Reader's Choice Award from Johns Creek Magazine, which was voted on by more than 650 members of our community. We also received our MIPSQUIC accreditation, which we received for the 10th year, which basically states that we are providing bariatric care to our patients in a way that has high quality and is the safest for patients. And then lastly, we opened a new Tranquility Garden. At Emory Johns Creek Hospital, our goal is not just to provide physical care, but also to provide whole person care. So we're equally concerned with spiritual and mental health of our patients. And this garden is a place not only for patients, but also for staff in the community to come and have a place where they can be at peace and relax. Okay, I'm going to hand it off to Marilyn. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. You can see that we've done many things over this year, and now I'm going to go over the things that we're going to do in the future. So we have, because we are at capacity, and because we are seeing sicker and sicker folks, we're having really to look at our care. And two of the things that we're doing to respond to that is we're having an intensivist program in our ICU. This is just an accumulation of what we have been doing over the last 10 years, and this is the culmination of having all ICU-trained intensivists to take care of patients 24/7. So that's so exciting for us. Also, to have a rapid response team to really respond to everyone that has any kind of baby thing going on. Baby thing. And so what we do is we make sure there's somebody in the hospital 24 hours a day so that they can respond to any kind of emergency, whether it be a labor and delivery emergency, an OB emergency, a woman's health emergency. They will be joining us in September. That's the start of our year. We're real excited about that. We're adding another neurosurgeon, and for a small community hospital, for those of you that know, soon to be a larger community hospital, what we're going to do is we're going to start doing some brain tumor work as well as spine work. So we're real excited about that, because even if the situation occurs where we need some more advanced care, we have the best hospital system. Emory Healthcare is the best hospital system that you could possibly get for care of all these things. So we have access to all of those hospitals. And most exciting, here comes our big projects for next year. The first thing I'm going to talk about is labor and delivery expansion. We are full of babies. We're really excited about that. We have a level 3 NICU, so we can take care of the sickest babies and the wellest babies. And so we are reconfiguring the space for labor and delivery so we have a better place for the moms and the babies to come, so we can watch them more carefully and that they can get into a bed quicker. So we're real excited about that. And that will happen. These are projects that will happen within the year of 2019 and 2020 and beyond. Next, we have the surgical robot. For those of you that were at the gala, you were able to play with the robot a little bit. We're real excited. This is the newest and greatest robot, and we're looking forward, our surgeons are really looking forward to having the new robot. This will be in addition to our other 2 robots that we currently have, but this gives them a little bit more dexterity with the equipment. And next we have, and Hannah should be given this slide because these are her projects, nuclear medicine camera and a new CT. These, actually, we're asking to have 2 more CTs because we have the 4th busiest MRI in the state, and we do a big business with interventional radiology. So we're really excited. We have great interventional radiologists, like Hannah said, who do peripheral artery disease work so that you don't have to have surgery. You can actually have these done in the interventional radiology lab, which makes it way easier for recovery. And next we have the pharmacy renovation. We have the director of pharmacy right here who just tried to start clapping. And he's been asking for this for quite a while. And David, you're going to get your pharmacy renovation. This really will help them. They're constrained like everyone else for space. And David's even given up his office so that we can get more clinical space in there. We also have an award-winning program. What we have pharmacy technicians. Dr. Shabir behind David is very integral in this. And what the technicians, the MedRec techs, so these are pharmacy technicians, they check on all the high-risk medications and make sure that patients and families are clear about their medications before they go home. And a great program. And here we get into this exciting stuff, too, about a parking garage. I never thought I'd get that excited about a parking garage, but because we have no parking right now, we're really excited about that. Lori Hansen, our VP of Operations who does this, is working really diligently on getting us a parking garage. And the pièce de résistance, next. This is the rendering of the hospital and medical office building. So we have a plan to build 2 more floors next year, starting next year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And we are really excited about that. And the medical office building, we're planning to add 3 floors to. And that is because we've run out of physician space. And our physicians, they're coming up, they want to have space next to the hospital. So we're really excited about all these projects. I'd just like to take one moment to thank this phenomenal team here from Emory Johns Creek that's sitting, if you could stand just for a moment. And these people are the people that do the work, along with Hannah. Thank you so much. The rest of our team is at home doing work. We appreciate your support for the hospital, and we're so really happy to be in Johns Creek. Thank you.
Well, it's always exciting to hear about the growth in our city. Marilyn, thank you so much again for your sponsorship. It's just another step in the growth of our city. I always enjoy this moment to talk a little bit about what the Chamber of Commerce does. We were founded the same year as the city in 2006, and we have grown considerably since that time. We've had the same mission since we started, and that's to help our members connect, grow, and thrive, and we continue to want to do that and make that our laser focus. We're approaching close to 500 businesses as members for 2018, and we're led by an outstanding board. And this is one of the important things that people don't realize, is that the board drives the behavior of an organization. And we have business leaders, large and small, that lead our chamber. I'd like our board just to stand and be recognized. It's the way to keep us grounded and to understand the needs of the community. We have board members that are one-person firms, and we have CEOs of the largest firms, and representatives of the city, and it's just a very great help to us. We hosted over 100 events in 2017. We do networking here, actually, at this facility. We have men's and women's activities, a Business Builders Education Series. It provides local businesses with an opportunity to learn from top professionals. We published the Johns Creek Guidebook. There are some, I believe, on the front. What people don't realize, you've all seen the guidebook, is that we publish 20,000 of those a year, and they're gone. We have 1 or 2 boxes left to get us through until July. So it is very much in demand, and it very much is everything about Johns Creek that you need to know. We published the Johns Creek map. Our Small Business Resource Center, which is a partner with the Johns Creek Advantage, is led by Robin Buckley. Robin's back in the back. I think she can't even hear me or she's not listening, but she's back there, wave. You know, this is a great thing that we started with JCA 4 years ago, and she provides education and counseling at no cost to both prospective and existing businesses. Whether they're members or not members of the Chamber makes no difference. We just offer connections, and offering those connections from a single source and a friendly voice is a great thing. She visited 18 restaurants last week, just as a matter of fact, face-to-face, to find out what we can do to make our job better and to make their business better. We have a business expo, which we host here at this location also. We had a summer camp expo, which was our first, which is a great advantage to our businesses, an amazing number of businesses, by the way, that offer summer camps to your kids and to others. And to be able to come to one location and find out all the offerings in a single day is terrific. We're, in short, very grateful for our partnership with this city, both the city itself, the community at large, and the opportunity to serve the community. So I would encourage you to learn more about our chamber. If you don't know, you need to know more, it's at johnscreekchamber.com. Or you can see Robin in the back or myself after the event. We'll be glad to help you. Now, Marilyn said that Mike Bodker was the greatest mayor ever. And he is, but he's the only mayor ever. But we are thrilled to have Mike as our leader. He took over in 2016. But before that, he was a child, and he came with his parents to Johns Creek or to the Atlanta metro area and has grown up, and he was only 5 at the time, so we'll call him a Georgian. He graduated from high school locally at Lakeside High School and went to earn a degree in accounting from the University of Georgia. There's always a Georgia fan. He is the first mayor and the current mayor. His term began December 1, 2006, and he was just sworn into his 4th term. He's a partner in Next Dimension Technology Solutions, and he has been extremely active in our community since the outset. He was on the committee to form the city. He knows everything there is to know about how to form a city and make all that stuff happen because he did it himself. What's interesting about Mike is that he takes the story of Johns Creek beyond the borders of Johns Creek. And it's important when we bring in businesses in, when we have residents that want to move here from other locations to be able to learn a lot about our city. He spearheaded the formation of the North Fulton Municipal Association. That includes the mayors of Alpharetta, Johns Creek, Milton, and Mountain Park, Roswell, and Sandy Springs, and served as the inaugural chairman. He was chairman of the Metro Atlanta Mayors Association. And I was there in 2015 when Mike was inaugurated in Savannah, Georgia, as the Georgia Municipal Association's 83rd president. And he served this city and the state well. And that's a big deal. You know, I'm glad I was there to see it happen because I realized what a big deal it was. And we were very proud of you, Mike, for that. He also serves in leadership with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I know it because I saw it on the internet. I saw it on Facebook, and it's got to be true, right? But he has been an avid supporter, more than a cheerleader, somebody that gets in and does the work. Mike, we're proud of you. Glad to introduce you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Bodker.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you, Marilyn. Folks, have you enjoyed the food so far? That's a local Johns Creek business, A&S Culinary. Hey, John, can I give this to you? Because I'm always scared the second mic will go off.
Oh, okay, got it.
Anyone got cell phones? Can you make sure you turn them off? Someone once said at the beginning of a speech that only God is important enough for that call, and right then their phone rang. Kind of worries me. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today to give the State of the City. I used to not get that excited to give State of the Cities. I saw it as kind of a dull, boring speech that was no more fun to give than to receive. But we've tried to step it up over the last couple of years, and I think if I do it justice, I think you might actually enjoy today. You have on your tables this report, and I want to say congratulations and thanks to our communication team. I think they knocked the ball out of the park. I hope you'll enjoy it. We've tried to make it a little different, a little more interesting. Because of this, I'm not going to give you all the facts and figures that I normally do, because I'm going to count on you reading this, because I want to get you to actually look at their work. So you don't have to do it right now, though. And then you've got another gizmo. How many are old enough to remember these? Okay, don't play with them now, but we've got these, and you'll understand what their purpose is in a little while. But with that, I just want to say thank you to John for the very kind introduction. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that everything that you, John, do, and your team at the Johns Creek Chamber of Commerce to move our exceptional city forward. It's very much appreciated. I also want to thank Marilyn for that hospital update. Always a pleasure to have you here with us, and I'd also like to take time. It's kind of odd.
Close my eyes and I can see the world that's waiting up for me. Let it call my name. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, and it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design.
'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head.
A million dreams are keeping me awake.
A million dreams. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make.
Now, this is what I love about Johns Creek. So how long have you been doing this now?
Oh my gosh. Like this group?
Yes.
Well, this is our first year all together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like you've only been doing it for a year. Are you having fun? Was this something different to do? Definitely. Yeah. Well, I have to tell you something. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you being here today, and I really appreciate being able to showcase the talent of Johns Creek. Let's give them another round of applause. Of course, I know you've got to get back to school now, so keep the grades up. Keep the grades up. Thank you. Let's give them another round of applause. So is that impressive? You know, there's a trick. There's a reason why we do this, because that way it makes it look like I gave a great speech. That really was impressive. And let's give another round of applause to Chattahoochee High School's chamber singers. What a great way to kick off the morning. If that doesn't get your blood pumping, I don't know what the heck will. That musical selection, A Million Dreams, fits the theme for this year's State of the City address perfectly. See the future. I greatly appreciate Principal Corrigan for allowing his students to kick off this year's event. Many of you may have heard me frequently point out that the young people in our city do not represent 100% of our population, but they certainly represent 100% of our future. And what we see here today and continue to see throughout our community from the students should provide everyone in this room with a strong sense of optimism of what our future holds. From their community involvement, innovation, to their drive, determination, and compassion for others, I could not be more proud of our students. Thanks again. Please join me in showing appreciation for their performance as they head back to class. I don't know who originally said it. When you start each day with a grateful heart, light illuminates from within. But I try to take this approach, reflecting on the good in my life with each new day, to help energize and drive me in a positive direction toward the future. By taking time to recognize and be grateful for the good that exists in and around our lives can serve as a great motivator for what needs to be done. And as we look to the future, to ensure that we put ourselves on the right path to sustain all that we cherish and to improve upon it as well. Make it a sustainable legacy for generations who follow. Fortunately, I don't personally have to look very far each morning to measure how grateful I am and to see who motivates me each day. My wife, Lisa, my twins, Jake and Carrie, and my nearly 2-year-old, Emma Kate. My friends, my work, and this community that I'm so blessed to represent. I could go on, and I wish all of the same for each of you. And speaking of grateful, Marilyn Margolis, and I am grateful you made it back. Our CEO of Emory Johns Creek Hospital immediately comes to mind when I think about community involvement and giving. First, this event wouldn't be possible without your generous sponsorship, so thank you for that. Second, your support that you provide to our fire department each year in their efforts to raise money for the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation. Third, the support that you give to other Johns Creek community events throughout the year. And lastly, of course, the excellent medical care you provide through your wonderful campus. Thank you so much for everything that you do. You really set the gold standard when it comes to giving. I also want to acknowledge this year's host, the Johns Creek Chamber of Commerce, and thank them for all the hard work that they've provided to make this event happen. It makes me a little sad to say that this will be, I think, the last one, John, as you head toward retirement from the Chamber, but I want to thank you for your wonderful leadership of this organization for all these years. We're also very fortunate to have our incoming president, Kent Davies, here, and Kent, I want to wish you all the best as you take over the helm. I also want to thank the wonderful team at the Chamber, Robin Buckley, Irene Petrie, and Laura Houston for all the great work that they do. Of course, another important thank you goes out to Perimeter Church, our new venue for the State of the City. What do you think? It's different. And of course, they provide a lot of support for the community as well. So at the risk, because anytime you do this, you might miss someone, so I apologize in advance. I do want to recognize some folks from around our community that are here, starting with someone that I've been working with since pre-cityhood, our Georgia Revenue Commissioner and chair of our Johns Creek Advantage organization, Commissioner Lynn Riley. We have our relatively new commission chairman from Fulton County, Rob Pitts. Not new to the political scene, but new to the chairman's position. Thank you, Rob, for being here. We have our Fulton School Board Vice President, Linda McCain. And we have the area superintendent for Fulton County Schools, Cliff Jones. Representing the office of Congresswoman Karen Handel, who's actually with the Vice President I hear this morning, Donovan Head. We have our state senator from just outside Johns Creek in Forsyth County and candidate for governor, Michael Williams. And I must tell you, I'm very competitive in nature, and he knows this. The former mayor of Alpharetta, thank goodness, because, you know, you need to slow it down a little bit, but also candidate for Secretary of State, David Belle-Isle. We have our chairwoman of the Johns Creek Convention and Visitors Bureau, Linda Smith. And of course, I saved this one last but not least because my kids go there and I've learned that you need to suck up a lot. And so the principal of Chattahoochee High School is here, Tim Corrigan. I'm very fortunate. I get to work with an excellent city council team, and we've got some new additions, and we've got some folks that have been there a little while. Our mayor pro tem is celebrating a big milestone birthday and couldn't be here, but I want to thank Lenny Zaprowski for his service. And I see sitting right here Councilman Jay Lynn. And I know over here somewhere I saw Chris Coughlin. Our newest member of the Johns Creek City Council and also a Georgia alum, John Bradbury. Councilwoman Stephanie Andres. And Councilmember Steve Broadbent. Of course, I'm most grateful that all of you could join us this morning for the annual Johns Creek State of the City Address. It's a pleasure and a privilege to do this for the 11th time. I'm honored that this community has placed its trust in me over these many years, and I've worked hard each and every day to represent you the best that I could. Right alongside my fellow council members, I promise that I will continue to work until my very last day in office just as hard as I have since my first. And for those of you who know me, and you've already seen it yet this morning, I tend to wear my emotions on my sleeve, but I don't like putting you in the uncomfortable position of having to balance your own emotions of feeling sorry for me and feeling guilty because you just don't want to see a grown man cry. That's not good for anyone, so I'm going to try to do my best to keep it together this morning. And that won't be easy, because when I look around this room, I see so many dedicated people, and it truly warms my heart. We changed things up a little bit with last year's State of the City address when we were fortunate enough to have Johns Creek resident Jeff Foxworthy join us via video. And we came very close to landing a local celebrity this year. It didn't quite work out. Let's take a look.
Don't forget, you have to call Angelica Hale for the State of the City address.
Hello?
Hello, is this America's Got Talent extraordinaire and Johns Creek resident Angelica Hale?
Yes, it is. But you can just call me Angelica.
So, Angelica, I've got this great idea. I wanted to have a big opening for the State of the City this year, and I wanted to see if possibly you could sing that song, Symphony, that you did on America's Got Talent.
So you want me to perform it live there?
Well, I was thinking, could we possibly do it together as a duet?
Oh, well, okay.
Great. So, Angelica, how about we'll harmonize? I'll start, and then, we'll call that our warm-up, and then we'll do the song. You ready? Me, 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 me. It sounds like someone's not on key, but I'm sure it's not me. Do you think it's you?
Are you sure it's me?
Okay, so Angelica, now that we're warmed up, I'll tell you what. How about you take the lead on the song, and then I'll join in, and I'll bring us home. You ready?
Okay. I just wanna be part of your symphony. Will you hold me tight and not let go? Symphony, like a love song on the radio. Will you hold me tight?
Craig, I know what you're thinking, and you're right. My voice is going to be way too powerful for this bit, and could you maybe call her parents and kind of let them down easy, because they're going to be disappointed, and just tell them we don't have time to work this into the State of the City this year?
Sure, if that's the way you want to go with it.
Thanks. I'd really appreciate it. Many of you may remember Angelica Hale from her performances on America's Got Talent and her very impressive second-place finish, which has made her very much in high demand. And as much as we wanted her here live today, she actually got on a plane and headed out of town this morning. And it never ceases to amaze me the amount of talent we have in our relatively small city of 84,000 people, from Jeff Foxworthy, Angelica Hale, and Usher, to prominent news anchors like Karen Greer and Russ Spencer, to professional and Olympic athletes, to CEOs and other senior-level corporate executives, top-tier educators. Johns Creek continues to be a beacon that attracts high performers from all walks of life. Have you ever stopped to wonder, why is this? What is it about Johns Creek compared to other cities in Metro Atlanta that continues to make us so desirable? We actually began this journey back in 2006 when we developed a vision and a plan to become the premier residential community in Georgia. We imagined, we dreamed, and we continued to refine those plans that resulted each year until we arrived at where we are today. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "The future belongs to those who believe in their dreams." We believed, and our dreams became a wonderful reality. So now that we're here, what's our dream for the future of Johns Creek? Where do we see that future? When we invited you this year, we did so with the intent of inviting you to do exactly that, see the future. My hope is that you will leave here this morning with a desire and to share your vision of the city's future with us, and to remain engaged in the process to build on all that we have and all that we've already accomplished together. In front of you, on the table, you'll find that viewfinder that I pointed out a little earlier. And as you flip through the images in this viewfinder, you're going to see glimpses of what's possible for our exceptional community. New parks, new roads, new infrastructure, each balanced between moving responsibly forward as a city, while at the same time maintaining the look and feel of that premier residential community for which we are so well known. And although the images are still in concept form, I need to repeat that, concept form, they provide an idea as to what can lie ahead and the tremendous potential of an even brighter future for our exceptional community. The final designs of these projects have or will include and be influenced by community input, and I believe that we're headed in the right direction. I'm as excited and energized about the possibilities of moving our plans forward as the day I stepped into public office almost a decade ago. And as enthused as I am about what lies ahead, I sometimes wish I could hit the stop button and simply stay in that place right where we are right now. And however, despite the fact that it's impossible to do that, I do believe it's better to keep moving forward. Let's learn from the past, understand its present impact, and build upon the important lessons so that we can better ourselves for our success. Only then can we improve our community. And the city of Johns Creek would have never reached the heights it has without a vision and a plan in place to move us forward responsibly. The schools within our cities are some of the most awarded in the state, and we are consistently ranked as not only the safest city in Georgia, but one of the safest in the nation as well. And as we continue to plan for our future, it's important that we draw closely on the lessons that created our strong foundation. We constantly ask ourselves, how did we get to where we are today? And how can we best use history to inform and guide us to an even better tomorrow? What led to the impressive accolades and the many lists, Johns Creek has been recognized over the last couple of years. From the safest city, tops in education, to premier residential living, Johns Creek continues to remain a highly sought-out community in which to live, work, educate, and play. And it's important to point out that these key attributes did not happen on their own. As a community, we made them happen together. We carved out our own piece of Fulton County 11 years ago and decided to chart our own course as an incorporated city. We built our own police and fire departments with a focused effort on staffing each of them with the best leadership, personnel, and equipment. We filled the offices of City Hall with some of the most experienced and highly dedicated professionals any city could hope for. And we established what I believe to be a beautiful model for public-private partnership. Essentially, we've created a municipal work environment where the best qualified, the pick of the litter, want to come here and work. As a result, because of our staff, Johns Creek has gained a reputation in both public and private sector circles for its willingness to embrace innovation and the latest technologies. The use of city apps to improve public safety and infrastructure made it more convenient for residents to not only reach out to the city staff and share their concerns, but it also made it easier to connect and engage with us as well. Our open data portals have dramatically increased the level of transparency, and it allows our citizens to track where, when, and every dollar that's spent by our city. We've also increased the quality of live streaming capabilities to make it more convenient and easier for our residents to watch every City Council work session, meeting, and town hall. We also now have the ability to take our town hall meetings on the road from almost any location with the same quality as if we were sitting in City Hall. We've also dramatically ramped up our social media and overall online presence. We proactively push information out to the public and to the media in support of our ongoing efforts to increase our level of transparency and engagement with our community. Our Public Works Department continues to make improvements to its state-of-the-art intelligent traffic system and traffic control center as well. It was the first in Georgia to install the flashing yellow light and has smartly increased the use of roundabouts, all to help improve traffic flow and safety. We recognize that we have a long way to go to effectively tackle the same traffic congestion and challenge that the entire metro Atlanta region faces, and we won't rest until we find that perfect solution. Fortunately, we have leaders like Tom Black on staff who help with this ongoing effort. We've been very fortunate to have benefited from Tom's leadership and experience. Tom not only defines what it means to leave no stone unturned when it comes to securing state and federal funding to offset our cost of transportation and parks projects, but he's also old enough to actually know and have invented the phrase, leave no stone unturned. Tom is so old that he first moved to Metro Atlanta shortly after Sherman passed through on his way to the beach. All joking aside, the entire community owes you a debt of gratitude for your service. You have faithfully and diligently served our community daily, and you've also served our nation in Vietnam as well. You risked your life for us then, and you risk your reputation for us now. Thank you, Tom, for everything that you do. And at the risk of too many cliches, albeit modified, he may be an old dog, but this old dog is always on the lookout for new tricks. He and our staff are always looking for the new, the latest, the different, the most innovative technologies and techniques to make life better for our residents. Thank you, Tom, for all that you and your staff do, working long hours both during the week and on weekends to improve our roads and parks. You definitely helped make 2017 one of Johns Creek's best yet. And while we're on the subject, let's take a brief moment before I go too much further to reflect on some of the high points of this past year, slow jam style. Well, Johns Creek, it's been an amazing journey. It's been the privilege of a lifetime to serve you over the past 12 years. This past year in particular has been very special, and I want to take a look back and be proud of what we've accomplished together and express my gratitude by letting you know just how special you are to me. But sometimes it's hard for me to say what I really feel, so I've asked for a little help.
I'm no photographer, but I picture us together.
This past year has been one of innovation. Alcon, a leading eye care manufacturing company, announced that it will be investing $97 million into our Johns Creek community as it ramps up its global production and expands its ability to provide eye care to those who need it.
Something must be wrong with my eyes, because I can't take them off of you.
Our green space more than doubled with our latest land purchase, and our Parks and Recreation Department oversaw the completion of 3 new synthetic turf fields, which means less disruption for sports teams during the season and the ability to play year-round.
I used to play the field, but it looks like I hit a home run with you.
But with all this responsible growth, this past year has also been an opportunity for fiscal responsibility. As we renovate our new permanent City Hall location, we move to a temporary location that will save tens of thousands of dollars. We also received 2 AAA credit ratings, which are the highest possible credit ratings a government can receive based on its creditworthiness and ability to meet its financial commitments. These ratings enabled the City of Johns Creek to obtain a parks bond with the lowest possible interest rate and thus saved you even more taxpayer dollars.
Call me your mutual fund, honey, because with you, I'm showing interest.
And finally, Johns Creek has once again cemented its status as an exceptional place to live, being named the safest city in Georgia, the best place to raise kids in the state, and again as the 4th best city to live in the nation. This is an incredibly high standard to maintain, and it's all thanks to you.
Even if there wasn't gravity on Earth, I would still fall for you.
You can probably tell from this video and the intro that we played earlier that our staff likes to have a little fun on the job. Not only are we fortunate to have, in my opinion, the best city staff in the state, or really the nation for that matter, but they have a little personality too. They bring expertise, dedication, and unmatched work ethic to the job every day and demonstrate genuine care and concern for the residents that they serve as well. As a result, we consistently receive high praise for their professionalism, integrity, and compassion. A number of our senior staff members are here with us this morning, led by our city manager, Warren Hutmacher, our chief of police, Ed Densmore, and our fire chief, Jeff Hogan. And will all of our city employees who are here please stand up and be recognized? Each year seems more productive than the previous, and this past year was no exception. In 2017, the city received not 1, but 2 of the highest credit ratings any municipality or organization can receive, especially right out of the gate. Johns Creek received a AAA rating from Moody's Investor Service and another AAA rating from Standard & Poor's Global Ratings. Out of over 20,000 cities in America, we are but one of 199 with a Moody's AAA and one of 338 with an S&P AAA. I need to take a quick pause to personally thank our amazing finance director, Tony Jo Howard, for her leadership and fiscal guidance that helped Johns Creek achieve these impressive distinctions. Thank you, Tony Jo, for all that you do, from managing our city's 10-year financial forecast to helping maintain a balanced budget each year. You're a true superstar, and we're very much fortunate to have you on our team. So why did we do the Parks Bond? Well, we did it to obtain $40 million of funding, which was approved by you back in 2016. These funds have paid for the installation of 3 new synthetic turf fields and for some concept designs on 5 new parks. We're going to continue to use the Parks Bond funds to help build out those parks once approved and for the refurbishment of 4 of our existing parks. The most significant addition to the growing park system occurred when we closed on a 59-acre Quail Hollow property, which will be combined with the 133-acre Cauley Creek property to form the largest park in Johns Creek. In fact, it's so large, it's larger than Piedmont Park in Atlanta. This new park is strategically located along the Chattahoochee River near Abbott's Bridge, Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. The final determination of how this land will be used will be through a thorough public planning process. Our other 4 new parks include a linear park and technology park, a neighborhood park on Morton Road, and 2 pocket parks located at State Bridge Road and at the intersection of Bell and Bowles Roads. Additionally, the Parks Bond has breathed new life into the old Rogers Bridge restoration project. The new bridge across the Chattahoochee River will connect park facilities for pedestrians and cyclists in both Johns Creek and Duluth, and will become an attraction and maybe even a landmark for Johns Creek. Overall, I believe we've made great strides in planning our new parks, and I'd like to share this vision with those of you who've not yet had time to review the concepts. Like so many others who live in the city, you start to find hidden gems, places off the beaten path. For Johns Creek, I believe we've found not one, but 5 new gems. With some foresight from the city that planted the seed, and working with some of the most creative minds from outside design consultants, the city's largest park in its history, along with 4 other new parks, are finally on the horizon. Right now, our city has some amazing parks that offer all sorts of experiences for families, but there's something different that we're trying to do with the new parks. I envision places with sand volleyball courts, a frisbee golf course, and pavilions where friends and families can gather together to bond and create memories. Athletic fields to accommodate baseball, soccer, and cricket, where people of all ages and abilities can expand their creativity. Where older adults can enjoy activities devoted to adding years to their life and life to their years. Parks that are fun for all, where children with special needs can laugh and play alongside their friends in specially designed playgrounds. Places where walkers, runners, and bicyclists don't have to worry about cars, distractions, or really anything else, other than the miles of path that they're going to be able to enjoy. A place with boardwalks and trails that don't just take you around nature, but actually through it and over it, where you can actually become a part of it. And a trail network that connects us with the cities and counties around us to expand recreational opportunities for our residents. Now is the time for Johns Creek to leave a legacy for generations to come. And I'd like to share this unique opportunity with you. I invite you to join us in transforming our now nearly 400 acres of green spaces into beautiful and one-of-a-kind parks, and help keep Johns Creek the nationally recognized premier residential community for which we've become known. The city intends to continue to identify opportunities to purchase additional green space to meet the needs of our growing population, which is in line with our Recreation and Parks Strategic Plan. Our city staff, led by Community Development Director Sharon Ebert, and residents have been hard at work on the next update to our city's comprehensive land use plan, which is currently under review. The current version reduces the number of community or character areas from 12 down to 8. Residents who reside in each area will have a tailored plan for redevelopment, parks, roadways, trails, and other activities that directly impact where they live. And I'm going to touch on this a little later in my remarks. In public safety, the fire department purchased a new fire engine and a new tiller truck to ensure their capability remains at the high end of safety standards for our residents. Our police department has formed a close relationship with Fulton County Schools to integrate themselves into those schools with their active shooter program, among others. We all recognize the critical need to protect our most precious asset and our future, our youth. I talked a little bit earlier about the efforts of Public Works to improve our community, which also includes maintaining our curb appeal and home values through the city's repaving program. Public Works finished its 3rd round of a 4-year program to repave our neighborhood streets. Repaving crews resurfaced approximately 23 miles of streets in 17 subdivisions. Crews also repaved 3 main roads, Rogers Circle, Finley Road, and Morton Road. Overall, in fiscal year 2017, the city budgeted approximately $5 million to maintain subdivision streets and approximately $685,000 on our main roads. Public Works has also recently completed another evaluation of all of our roads and will present our new neighborhood repaving plan to the City Council later this year. Another major effort that Public Works has undertaken has been tasked to plan for our T-SPLOS projects. And I know that for many of you, this can be an emotional subject. And I just want to remind you that in 2016, in that election in November, our city and other cities in Fulton County approved T-SPLOST, which is expected to provide us in Johns Creek $82 million of much-needed local funding. And we put those details of those roads projects out to you back in April of 2016. And by the way, all of that information is still on our website if you want to see it. And as emotional as this is for some people, because change is scary, I'm really only asking one thing of our citizens and business leaders, and that is, as our city manager put it to the city council, that you take a journey with us. Allow us to explore the possibilities of what can happen in turn of improving our roads. And it's going to be a tough conversation, and it's going to be scary for some, but I think it's important if we're ever going to tackle this issue of traffic. And so, again, all we're asking is take a journey with us. We'll see where we end up. And we closed out our year last year by moving our city hall to a temporary location while we refurbished that building that you saw in one of those images in Technology Park, which will become our permanent home. The consolidation of City Hall, police, and fire departments under one roof will improve our already premier municipal services, and we anticipate and we hope that we'll move in by the end of the year. We closed out a number of important resident task forces, which were asked to ensure that we remain fully engaged and best support the needs of our growing community. One task force of note, our cultural diversity one, set out to fully embrace one of Johns Creek's greatest strengths, our diversity. Through this process, we learned that Johns Creek is the 10th most diverse small city in the nation. With an international population of nearly 35%, we are both unique and very blessed. Most of the 19 schools within Johns Creek host an international night each year, and each is truly amazing. Between the food, the art, and the cultural performances, it really hits home that our young people gain an invaluable education beyond what they learn from the highly acclaimed school curriculum right here at home. What they learn from each other is tolerance, understanding, and acceptance, which are all critical skills that will carry them far in life and help make our world a better place. Over the course of their years in our schools, they don't just have an opportunity to live the think global, act local mantra, they actually see global while acting local. Unlike many other young people who have to save for years to travel abroad and get this understanding of the world, our kids get to live it right here at home. It's part of the reason I'm so excited that Johns Creek is going to be hosting its first international festival on April 21st of this year. It's yet another great and fun way to bring our community together and to showcase the city for what it truly is, a welcoming, safe, highly successful place that is driving to build a better future for the next generation. As the Chamber Singers alluded to in their rendition of A Million Dreams, where will our dreams and plans lead? Now that we've reflected on the past and have taken a look at where we are today, let's talk a little bit about our future because I'm very excited about this. As I touched upon earlier, our Community Development Department is leading the update of our Comprehensive Land Use Plan, which is an important document that seeks to preserve and protect residential neighborhoods and carefully manage future development growth. Overall, the plan that was recommended by our 25-person Citizen Advisory Committee, or CAC, was designed to minimize growth and density, and if fully realized, will average less than 2 units per acre of residential citywide. Sharon Ebert worked alongside outside consultants and volunteers from the community who comprised the CAC and made great progress in developing a plan that I believe has the potential to be the envy of surrounding communities. Talk about another gem in our amazing staff. Sharon has dedicated every ounce of her energy to both refine and drive this plan forward, putting time in sometimes 7 days a week. And not because she had to, but because she's that passionate about improving our community and reaching the best outcome for our residents. And she has an amazing and equally dedicated staff working right alongside her. Thank you, Sharon. The CAC has worked for well over a year to significantly update the current draft and improve its readability with its presentation of draft number 2. In general, the CAC has heard our citizens loud and clear regarding their desire to minimize growth and density. While the city is not required to update this plan until November of this year, I ask and urge you to give us your comments as quickly as possible, because we all know how quickly time can pass in our busy lives, and before you know it, the City Council will need to make a final decision on this plan. And to call this plan transformative would be an understatement. It reduces density, dramatically improves connectivity between subdivisions, parks, schools, shopping, and drives economic development in a smart but responsible way, and in a manner that will protect the premier residential community that we've become known for. And I couldn't be more excited about the work of this group, and I hope that you will take the time to study it and give us good input. The same deliberate planning focus was used to build this exceptional city will also be required to ensure that Johns Creek remains the premier residential community well into the future. Please remain active and involved throughout this process. It's our town, and it will take the collective focused effort to sustain the path of success that we've forged together. Another plan that I'm equally excited about was born from an idea from one resident last year. And I think it will contribute to a positive transformation of Johns Creek, and it's called I Heart Johns Creek. I Heart Johns Creek was approved by our City Council just last month and defines a clear focus for our city. This plan will create an identity for Johns Creek as a health and wellness destination in Metro Atlanta in the health and medical industry. The visionary of this initiative, Anand Thacker, was just one of nearly 84,000 residents in Johns Creek, but he put a great deal of thought and planning into this impressive idea, an idea that is now a reality in the making. As the City Council adopted its Strategic Economic Development Plan nearly 2 years ago, it did so to create a foundation or framework from which to build. And while each had general thoughts of what it could become, Anand took it upon himself to create a very clear and detailed vision of what was sitting right in front of us all along. With Emory Johns Creek's medical campus and the world's largest manufacturer of contact lenses, Alcon, along with many other health and wellness businesses already in place, I Heart Johns Creek creates a focused effort by the city to attract this industry to Johns Creek, as well as pull together the existing health and wellness businesses in and around the city in a more collaborative approach, all for the betterment of our residents and business base. While Anand would be the first to say this was a team effort, make no mistake, this idea would have never come about or to fruition without his initiative and drive. Again, he's but one person of 84,000, one person with a vision and an eye to the future can really make a difference. Thank you, Anand. While we have so many positives to build on, we recognize that in order to continue to improve, we must recognize any issues or challenges that stand in our way. As transportation issues remain the top concern, we've taken the extra step to investigate what other issues we need to be made aware of that could affect our long-term success and one of the most premier residential communities in the nation. Many of you may be able to relate to this, but people tweet about Johns Creek. Have you ever read any tweets about Johns Creek? Well, I have. And, as I noticed the other day, I've got a black car and it's now turned yellow, and my driveway turned yellow. It's one of my favorite times of the year. When my wife was selling respiratory drugs, it was certainly her favorite time of the year. But Mike writes, Johns Creek, where we get more pollen than snow. But not to worry, the City Council recognizes this, and we're working on reversing global warming so that we can make the pollen go away. As I walk in and out of businesses, I often notice the signs they put up. A lot of them are just welcome signs, but a young lady named Tori sent in this one, and this is an actual sign, by the way, and I know some of you are going to be able to relate to this, but it says, "We cannot accept $100 bills. Sorry for the inconvenience." Well, in Johns Creek, that can be a real problem. I mean, how are you going to buy a pack of gum or something if you can't use a $100 bill? And these are problems in Johns Creek. By the way, this is all hashtag Johns Creek problems. So technology is an awfully wonderful thing, isn't it? We all love it. We all get addicted to it. In Johns Creek, we have a different use for it. And we saw a tweet that said, "Just saw a girl using an iPad as an umbrella." Not to worry in Johns Creek, because we'll just go get another one. And then as we moved City Hall, we saw another tweet. Carl tweeted, "I just found City Hall." So of course, they're moving it. So we're going to try to make it a little easier. It took me a while to figure out where it was after we moved it. We're going to do much better signage in the future to our new City Hall. And then this was a gem. So we all remember Hurricane Irma and the disruption that it caused in our lives, right? Well, Rob sent this very helpful tweet. He said, Hurricane Irma is going to have to get through all the traffic before it's going to hit us, which is kind of true. So we figured out in Johns Creek, we send warnings out when we have impending weather. And so we've just decided we'll just wait 1 or 2 hours and then let you know, since it's going to have to get through all the traffic anyways. And then finally, Jeff Foxworthy had to get in on the act. And we did that video last year, and Jeff writes, "Bodker keeps calling me to do another video with him. I'll let it go to voicemail." Jeff thinks he's funny, except he forgets I have an in with the police, and I'll just camp out on his front yard till he does that video, so we'll get it one way or the other. These are Johns Creek problems, by the way. We have so many, of course, we like to make light of the trivial, but we do have so much to be grateful for, and sometimes we take for granted our great schools, our safe community, our premier residential living. But I also want to make sure I have your undivided attention for the next things I have to say. I want to stress again the importance of being involved and request your help with the increasing level of community engagement. We do have serious issues that need our continued focus beyond traffic congestion, such as the opioid epidemic that's threatening our entire nation. This epidemic affects young people in our schools, the millennials, and professionals at all levels. And I'm proud of the effort of our police department is undertaking to work with surrounding agencies, both at a local level and a state level, to find the best way to combat this threat to our nation. As I've read about the opioid epidemic, one of the things that I've learned is one of the most important things you can do is get unused medicine out of your medicine cabinets. It's amazing that someone who is addicted to these drugs, what they'll do to get to them, and it's right there in your house, and it may be a visitor to your home. And I'm very proud, of course, of our community partner, Emory Johns Creek, and I'm not making the official announcement today, but I'm letting you in on a secret that we'll be announcing officially in the next few weeks, and that is that they are creating a 24/7, 365-day-a-year drop-off point for you to get those drugs out of your medicine cabinet, and I know that that will greatly help with this problem, so thank you, Emory. I also want to thank our city council. They had the foresight to fund another full-time police position to put them dedicated to a combination drug task force. So we're dealing with both ends of the spectrum. This task force is going out and getting the bad guys who are pushing this disease at the source. And I want to thank Chief Densmore and his team for doing a wonderful job in working with our partners around the region to deal with this epidemic. Too many lives are being lost and impacted by this epidemic, and we must work together and take a firm stand to help those in need and help those who push this disease and hold them accountable for their actions. Your continued involvement as a community will not only help us face our greatest challenges and threats, but will also help us overcome them together. Stay tuned, stay involved, and help encourage those around you to do the same, and I'm confident that we can get this done together. If you don't think you can make a difference, then think again. Just ask Anand. From one individual resident starting out to a whole group of residents coming together to build a new plan for the future of our city, to the young people throughout Johns Creek volunteering and creating ways to help make this world a better place, we should all be optimistic about our future. The pride and love of our city that our residents continuously display encourages me each and every day, and I hope it does the same for all of you. I understand and respect that we all have busy lives, but what feels like a blink of an eye, decisions can get made that you or some of your neighbors may not like, and be seemingly made without you even being aware. However, I can assure you they're not being made in a vacuum. In fact, every decision that's made by our city council is there broadcast live at the time it's made and there for you to view afterwards. The city staff goes to great lengths to notify the public through many proactive measures. However, I get it. I've been doing this a little while, and sometimes it's hard to understand or hear about it in advance. But again, it doesn't mean that we didn't try. Fortunately, most of our residents, I believe, are generally pretty happy. And as a result, we don't hear from enough of you often enough. So again, my point here is, please stay involved. So this brings me to the state of the city. And from where I sit, I think it's pretty darn good. While I'm very content with where we are as a community today and optimistic about our future, I'm never satisfied. I'm not quite sure that I ever will be, and that's okay. It means that I recognize that there's still so much more for us to do together to help ensure that our future is even brighter tomorrow than we can even imagine it today. And I take comfort in knowing that I'm not alone in this line of thinking. I'm surrounded by a hardworking, passionate, and dedicated city council who share in this overarching goal. We have a highly experienced staff who take both an innovative and dedicated approach when it comes to working with our council and our community to shape the plans that will evolve our exceptional city to even greater heights. And finally, we have a community of overachieving residents who continually participate in the process of planning for the next steps of our future, which keeps us driving forward. Together, I'm confident that we can continue to achieve great things for the city of Johns Creek. Together, we will continue to set the standard by which other communities will measure greatness. And together, I believe we will forge a legacy that truly defines what premier residential living means. As I close today's State of the City address, I can think of no better words and challenge for each of us here today than an inspirational quote by a young Pakistani woman, Malala Yousafzai, who survived an assassination attempt at the hands of the Taliban for simply speaking up about a desire for a better life that so many of us take for granted. While the content of the quote for a brighter future is vastly different, the sentiment is very much relevant to anyone who looks to the future to seek a better life for themselves or their family. As we leave here this morning, let us carry Malala's words to serve as an inspiration, not only for a better tomorrow for our own community, but how we will live our lives each day as well. Her quote is, "Let us make our future now, and let us make our dreams tomorrow's reality." Thank you very much for being here this morning, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if anyone's got one, or you can hit the road. And I think we do have another mic, don't we? We have a mic somewhere? Does anyone have a question? We'll get the mic to you. Please don't not ask a question. It's a very, I can always count on you, Nazira.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor, for the
Good
wonderful
morning.
state of the city. I asked this question 3 years ago, and I'm asking the same question almost as a follow-up today, is are you satisfied with the strategies that you've taken to encourage and engage the minorities in Johns Creek to be involved not just in the political process, but also to take up leadership levels in government jobs and civic engagements? And I see that you've opened up the task force, which is really good. I see the international night, but what is the city government doing to make it an open forum for them to become involved more?
I appreciate you asked that question. And it's funny that as you're standing there, Nazir, you're standing next to Jay Lynn, who is one of 2 council members that led the Cultural Diversity Task Force. You know, one of the things that we recognize is Johns Creek is a very inviting community, and with that invitation, we seemingly have, as I said, over 30% of our population is international. And it's a wonderful thing. And I think that we need to celebrate that diversity, and we've actually engaged an entire task force to do so. And the goal was not to get folks involved necessarily in political life, because to be honest, I'm not sure why anyone would. But it was more to really get our community engaged and figure out how we can celebrate one of the greatest assets that we have, and I look forward to not just the short-term work, but us implementing those recommendations and seeing how we can bring our entire community together. Any other questions? So before we get to your question, Jay, I want to say thank you to our staff. Did you all enjoy the videos? They worked very hard on this, and they did a wonderful job. And to be honest, when you don't deliver a speech well like I did today, at least it's helpful that you got some good videos.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to ask, with the General Assembly about to close and a lot of talk about transportation and mass transit issues, what have you heard that's coming out from the Capitol or the City of Atlanta that could affect Johns Creek as far as the transportation issues?
So the biggest issue that I've heard down at the General Assembly is what we call competing bills. Senator Brandon Beach and Representative Kevin Tanner have both introduced a form of a regional transit bill. They're vastly different in their governance. They're not vastly different in their concept, and they are trying to bring more counties to the table than just Fulton, DeKalb, and Clayton and the City of Atlanta to really come together and develop a metro-wide transit system. Now, there are others, by the way, that have transit. Cobb and Gwinnett, as an example, have bus systems, but they're really not joined with the rest of the metro region. And so I'm a little concerned about the bills because I suspect there may be some ulterior motives in raising taxes. And I don't mind the concept of raising taxes if it's an investment for the right thing. But what I'm concerned about with transit in Metro Atlanta, and I've stated this and our city council has stated it through a resolution that we passed, is that we need to recognize and see how will it actually benefit us. If we're going to invest billions of dollars in something, we ought to take some cars off the road. And one of the things that I have not been able to see is a clear demonstration that if you invest this money, this is what the result will be. I'm hopeful to see that because everyone says it will happen. And so I'm anxiously waiting to see how these two bills will ultimately come into one bill, because they will through what's called a conference committee. And we'll see then what happens from there. But in the end, as I said to an AJC reporter yesterday, I think the most important thing that citizens should demand is a return on investment. It's your tax dollars. They're taking it out of your wallet. And at the end of the day, you ought to see something for that. And to me, when we talk about transit, it's the fact that there are less cars on the road, even if you're not one of the people riding in that transit option. You ought to still have a better ride down the road. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the wonderful presentation, and it was really kind of like gives you a vision of the future for the city as well. I see that we are doing a lot of work for the parks, but one thing which we noticed over there is we don't have an aquatic park in the city. I know that we have Alpharetta, which is not too far, and then we go to Duluth sometimes over there. But is that something which we have in plans over there for?
And you said what type of park?
Aquatic park for people to swim and all that.
Oh, got it. So we are actually talking with Alpharetta. Before David left office, they've asked us to consider doing a partnership to do that. And we have to debate that carefully because, again, the problem with our park system is we started with next to nothing, and we've had to build it up from here, and we've got to really measure the priorities of where we invest our dollars. Right now, I can tell you it's not something that you should expect to see in the very, very short term, but I think the fact that they're reaching out to us and figuring out that sometimes we all can't do this alone and we need to work in partnership. There's some parks on our border that are very close to Alpharetta and on their border that are very close to our city, and so it does make sense that we could do more partnerships. One of the other things I'll point out, which is not part of your question, is a few years ago we implemented a program that I pushed with my fellow mayors, and Alpharetta took the first bite, and it's called Parks Without Borders. And it's an opportunity for our residents to participate in Alpharetta sports programs as if they were a resident of Alpharetta, and for Alpharetta's residents to participate in our sports programs. And what that really does is it expands the possibilities of what you can participate in, but more importantly, some people would just rather go to a park that's closer to them, and it may be an Alpharetta park that's closer, and that's the point of Parks Without Borders. So hopefully we'll see this program expand over time. Any other questions? I know you all probably want to get to work. Let me just say, is that a question, Donovan? Oh.
Over here.
I remember you mentioning that there's a drop-off point at the hospital for medications. But is there any plans for a drug court, or is there one in existence now?
So drug crimes are generally higher level than the city of Johns Creek manages. So yes, there is drug courts at the state level in the state court system. And so if we make an arrest related to drugs, we are generally sending that accused party down to the state level court system. So hopefully they'll treat them right and recognize sometimes it's a blatant crime and sometimes it's a cry for help. but we're certainly trying with compassion to deal with this issue. It's a tough issue. And I get a little discouraged sometimes when I read what's going on, and then I get encouraged when I see what our chief of police and our wonderful department are doing to help with this. And I get very encouraged when I see what Emory Johns Creek is doing. So I'm very appreciative of what we have going on in our community. I hope you all will be too. Yes?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for all you're doing. I'm part of the Arts and Culture Board, and I'm here with Virginia. And we're wondering if you have a vision for Johns Creek for a performing arts center in the future.
So it's been an interesting topic, and I don't want to sort of steal the thunder of what's coming, although I don't really know what it's going to prove. But the City Council wisely invested in a performing arts study. So we know that there are a lot of performing arts buildings, facilities around the region, matter of fact, growing every day. And what we wanted to do is, if we're going to dip our foot in this water, we wanted to figure out, one, how can we make it more of a private partnership than a public investment, not because we're against the arts, but simply because we believe it needs to be sustainable long-term with a good business model. But we also recognize that you've got to be careful because there's a lot of competition, and you don't want to oversaturate the market. I'm confident that there's something that's going to be a fit for Johns Creek. It may be different than what we're all used to. It may not be this big, huge facility. Maybe it will be. And I'm very thankful to the CVB for performing this study, working with some professionals, and I'm anxious to see the results. Any other questions? Okay. Well then, let me say thank you all for coming out today. I hope you got a little entertainment out of it. And we've got a lot going on in Johns Creek in 2018, and it will only work best if you are engaged. We hear from you when you're not happy. We don't always hear from you when you're happy. It's important that you let the City Council know what's working as well as what's not. And I'm not trying to discourage the what's not. So please stay engaged. Have a great 2018. We'll see you back here in 2019.